Hey guys, it's Kurt here, the preaching minister at the Holly Hill Church of Christ. I'm so excited to be talking to you guys today on Facebook and our other social media platforms. You know, today is exciting because back before COVID and the schedule changes and all the craziness that went with that, we used to do these sermon preview videos where you can watch and learn, maybe get a little homework to prepare for what I'm going to say Sunday morning. Now, since this is our first sermon preview back, this one's a little bit special. It's a review preview. Say that 3 times fast. But it's so exciting to talk to you guys about wrapping up our sermon series, Together in Love. So we've been talking about this year, our theme is Together. Our sub-theme in February, since it's Valentine's Day, men, it is too late, but I would still try to make that up. That's a little free advice. Since this month has Valentine's Day in it, we've been talking about how we as Christians should be together in love. So the first week, we talked about what it means to be together in love. Why it's so important that we as Christians work on unity on the basis of love. You know, Jesus said that people will know we are his followers by how we love one another. In fact, not only is it our love for one another, but Jesus, when questioned by his enemies, said that the greatest commandment was to love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and your mind. And the second, like unto it, is to love your neighbor as yourself. If we're going to be people called in the image of God, people called to be Christ on earth, part of his body, then we should be known by our love. So that first sermon, we talked about what love is. That second sermon, we answered that age-old question, what is love? Our artists, our musicians, our poets, our authors, our preachers have talked countless numbers of times about what it means to love. And that's something we addressed from the pulpit Sunday. Now, it's hard in 1 week, one 25-minute lesson to define what it means to love. But here's the conclusion we came to. Last year I preached on love, and I preached on what it means to love, and we looked at that passage from 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verses 4 through 7, and we said that love is patient, love is kind. You can read the rest. I don't have to read it for you here. But we enjoy giving love a behavioral definition. But really, Jesus said that our actions come from the heart. And so oftentimes we want to say, well, I can not like that person, but I can treat them lovingly and thus fulfill the law of Christ. And that's a mistake. It's a fake it till you make it mentality that's not really served the church well. And so we as Christians, we've got to know, we've got to understand, we've got to do the difficult work of changing our hearts, being transformed in our heart, being transformed in our mind into the image of Christ. So that's what we are going to talk about this week. We've done the review, now the time for the preview. This Sunday, I hope you'll join us for a really important, a really special lesson on how we can fall in love with one another as brothers and sisters in Christ. I'm excited. I'm nervous. I think that this is a really big deal. This is something we've got to get right. If the world is going to know us by our love, then we've got to take some time to deepen our love for one another. Jesus in the Sermon on the Mount talks about how it's easy to love people who are like you. It's easy to like people who are similar to you. Even the worst kind of people in that time period, Jesus said, can do that. So we as Christians have to learn to love one another when it's not easy. So we've said why we need love. We've said what love is. And this week, in the sermon, we'll be talking about how we can deeply fall in love with one another, not just in action, but in the mind and the spirit as well. I hope you'll join me Sunday for Bible class at 10 o'clock, worship at 11. Actually, I'm supposed to say worship is at 10:55. That's technically correct. So I hope to see you all then. God bless. Have a great week. See you Sunday.